The breaking news this morning, President Trump says the U.S. carried out large-scale strikes on Venezuela overnight. He says its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, have been captured and flown out of the country.
And there were reports in the last month or so that Britain had actually ceased some degree of its intelligence sharing with the US government.
Yeah. Britain has been humiliated. January 4th, 2026. President Donald Trump said the US will temporarily run Venezuela following a stunning military operation in which leader Nicolas Maduro was captured by US military forces, captured by America. While Britain watched, Keir Starmer has refused to describe Donald Trump's takeover of Venezuela as a breach of international law.
It's obviously a fast-moving situation, and we need to establish all the facts. What I can say is that the UK was not involved in any way in this operation, and as you'd expect, we're focusing on British nationals in Venezuela and working very closely with our embassy. And so I will want to talk to the President, I will want to talk to allies, but at the moment I think we need to establish the facts. I think President Trump is doing a press conference later, so hopefully more information will come out then.
What is clear though, which the White House has said, is that America carried out strikes on Venezuela and captured their leader, Maduro. Some politicians in this country have already condemned that. Do you?
Well, I want to establish the facts first. I want to speak to President Trump. I want to speak to allies. As I say, I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved in that. And as you know, I always say and believe we should all uphold international law. But I think at this stage, fast-moving situation, let's establish the facts and take it from there.
Refused. The UK Prime Minister said he needed the full picture before assessing what had happened. Full picture. While Trump acts decisively, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the UK was not involved in any way in the strikes on Venezuela. Not involved in any way. What I can say is that the UK was not involved in any way in this operation. Sidelined, excluded, irrelevant. At 10:46 p.m. ET Friday, Trump gave the final order to launch Operation Absolute Resolve, the most audacious military action in either of Trump's terms. Absolute resolve. Britain, absolute irrelevance. America acts. Britain reacts. Trump leads. Starmer stutters. This is Britain 2026, where America conducts the most stunning military operation in modern history, where a dictator is captured and flown to New York, where Venezuela's government falls overnight, and Britain not involved in any way, watching, waiting, wondering, weak. But before we expose how Starmer's pathetic response to Trump's Venezuela operation reveals Britain's total irrelevance on the world stage as America demonstrates actual leadership, while Britain cowers in diplomatic fence-sitting, let's be honest. Mainstream media won't tell you that Starmer was so shaken, his voice literally trembled, suggesting he's terrified of Donald Trump. That Shadow Housing Secretary James cleverly described Starmer's response as an insipid non-statement, or that Green Party and Liberal Democrats leaders have both criticised Trump while Starmer refuses. That's why we built British Front Media. Subscribe now for coverage exposing Britain's humiliation. Reason number 1. Trump's Operation Absolute Resolve saw US forces bomb Caracas, capture Maduro, and pledge to run Venezuela, while Starmer admitted Britain was not involved in any way, revealing total collusion from decisive global action. The Trump administration launched a major military attack on Venezuela on Saturday morning, bombing facilities and capturing leader Nicolas Maduro and flying him to the United States. Major attack. Saturday morning, a series of explosions went off in Venezuela around 2 a.m. local time. 2 a.m. Swift. Decisive. At a news conference on Saturday at his Mar-a-Lago resort, Trump praised the operation to seize Maduro as one of the most stunning, effective and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. Most stunning in American history. At 10:46 p.m. ET Friday, Trump gave the final order to launch. Final order. Leadership. What happened? Explosions heard over Venezuelan capital Caracas. At least 7 explosions and low-flying aircraft were seen across Venezuela's capital during the early hours of Saturday. 7 explosions. Explosions have reportedly left parts of the city without power. Power out, then capture. President Trump gave the Venezuelan leader one last chance to step down, telling Nicolas Maduro in a private call that he had to go. Maduro came close to giving in but stayed put. Private call, last chance, defiance, then consequences. That act of defiance set in motion the final phase of a secret and risky plan to evict Maduro by force. Result: on Saturday evening, a plane carrying Maduro landed at New York's Stewart Air National Guard Base, New York, American soil. Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores were indicted in the Southern District of New York. They will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. American justice, American courts, American action, Britain. What I can say is that the UK was not involved in any way in this operation. Not involved. The UK was not involved in any way. Excluded. Sidelined. Irrelevant. America's closest ally. Not consulted. Not informed. Not needed. Reason number 2. Starmer pathetically refused to condemn Trump's action despite condemning Putin's Ukraine invasion, revealing voice-trembling fear of Trump and complete abandonment of international law principles. Keir Starmer has refused to describe Donald Trump's takeover of Venezuela as a breach of international law. Refused. Former Director of Public Prosecutions, former human rights lawyer, refuses. The UK Prime Minister, formerly the Director of Public Prosecutions, said he needed the full picture before assessing what had happened. Full picture? BBC Laura Quinsberg, you've been incredibly clear that Putin's attack on a sovereign country, Ukraine, was wrong and ought to be condemned. What about Trump's attack on a sovereign country of Venezuela? Will you condemn that action against a sovereign state? Clear question. Starmer, I want to get all the material facts together, and we simply haven't got the full picture at the moment. Facts, material facts. Putin invades Ukraine. Immediate condemnation. Trump captures Venezuelan dictator. Need facts. Starmer was so shaken his voice literally trembled towards the end of the clip, suggesting he's terrified of Donald Trump and the Americans. Voice trembled, terrified, pathetic. When asked by BBC if he would condemn the US action against a sovereign state, Starmer replied, I want to get all the material facts together. Facts. I always say and believe we should all uphold international law, but I think at this stage, fast-moving situation, let's establish the facts. Uphold law. Establish facts. Meaningless platitudes. Presenter Quinsberg pointed out that Venezuela is a sovereign state and that other UK political leaders, including Trump supporter Nigel Farage, think it's probably against international law. Even Farage. Starmer, we're the government. We take this very seriously. I want to establish all the facts. Establish facts. Again, coward. Reason number 3. Starmer admitted he needed to speak to Trump urgently, yet by Sunday still hadn't talked to him while claiming Britain has close relationship despite being totally excluded from operation. Sir Keir Starmer has insisted Britain was not involved in this morning's US operation in Venezuela and expressed the need to speak to Donald Trump as a matter of urgency. Need to speak. Urgency. The Prime Minister said he has remained in the dark about the fast-moving situation in Venezuela, but stressed his intention to talk to Mr. Trump to establish the facts. In the dark. Intentions. Saturday morning. I will want to talk to the President. I will want to talk to allies. Want to talk. Sunday. Starmer said Britain was not involved and expressed his support for upholding international law. Still hadn't spoken. Britain's Prime Minister, America's supposed closest ally, can't get through. Meanwhile, Starmer claims, the relationship between the US and the UK is one of the closest relationships in the world. It is my responsibility to make sure that relationship works, and I do get on fully with President Trump. Closest relationship, gets on, yet not involved in any way, not consulted, not informed, not called back. Close relationship, the Trump administration informed top lawmakers on the Senate and House Intelligence Committees about the US military action to capture Maduro after the operation was underway. After operation underway, American lawmakers told British Prime Minister, nothing. For the Venezuela operation, it appears no lawmakers were notified in advance. American Congress not told. Britain, forget it. Shadow Housing Secretary and former Foreign Secretary Sir James Cleverly criticised Starmer's initial response, describing it as an insipid non-statement. He clearly doesn't know what to say until someone else tells him. Insipid, non-statement, waiting to be told, by America. Pathetic. Reason number 4. While Trump demonstrates decisive military leadership, capturing dictators and pledging to run Venezuela, Starmer focuses on British nationals and embassy coordination, revealing small-minded irrelevance. Trump acts, captures dictator. Trump said the US will temporarily run Venezuela and work to tap the country's massive oil reserves. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition to new leadership. Run the country, control oil, shape future, leadership. Trump said without evidence that the US's role in governing Venezuela won't cost us anything because US oil companies would invest in new infrastructure. It's going to make a lot of money. Make money. Strategic vision. Speaking to reporters Saturday, Trump revealed his plans to exploit the leadership vacuum to fix the country's oil infrastructure and sell large amounts of fuel to other countries. Fix infrastructure, sell oil. America first. Starmer, as you'd expect, we're focusing on British nationals in Venezuela and working very closely with our embassy. Nationals. Embassy. Around 500 UK nationals are in Venezuela, and work is ongoing to safeguard them. 500 nationals, safeguarding. Small, reactive, administrative. Trump captures presidents. Starmer checks on tourists. Trump reshapes nations. Starmer coordinates embassies. Trump exploits oil fields. Starmer focuses on British nationals. The Foreign Office advised against all travel to the country. Travel advice. That's Britain's contribution. Travel advice. While America runs countries, the military operation, which officials said had been planned for months, took several hours. Planned for months, a CIA team had crept into the country, tracking Maduro's movements and habits, where he slept, what he ate, where he traveled. CIA teams. Months of planning. Britain, checking on tourists. Reason number 5. Left-wing MPs organise emergency rallies with £30 tickets demanding Maduro's return, while Conservatives mock Starmer's weakness as Britain becomes global laughingstock. Left-wing MPs have demanded Sir Keir Starmer denounces Donald Trump's extraordinary strikes. Richard Bergen urged the PM to stand up to Trump's gangster politics. Stand up. Gangster politics. Either Keir Starmer believes in international law, or he doesn't. Believes or doesn't. Choose. On Sunday, he will join an emergency online rally for which attendees could buy top-tier solidarity tickets for £30. Emergency rally. Solidarity tickets, £30. Campaigners, activists demanding the safe return of dictator Maduro and an end to US regime change. Safe return of dictator. Britain's left defending dictators. For £30. Fellow Labour MPs John Trickett, Kim Johnson and Kate Osborne have also pushed for firmer response. Firmer response. Labour MP Zara Sultana called on Starmer to condemn the attacks unequivocally. Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves, and that's no coincidence. This is naked US imperialism. Naked imperialism. Labour condemns America, defends dictator. Conservatives. Shadow Housing Secretary James Cleverly criticised Starmer's initial response, describing it as an insipid non-statement. He clearly doesn't know what to say until someone else tells him. Insipid non-statement. Mockery. Deserved. Green Party leader Zach Polanski claimed the PM and Foreign Secretary should be condemning this illegal strike. Greens condemn. Lib Dem leader Sir Ed Davey called on the Prime Minister to rebuke what he called the US leader's illegal action. Maduro is a brutal and illegitimate dictator, but unlawful attacks like this make us all less safe. Lib Dems condemn. Starmer. Silent. Trembling. Pathetic. Reason number 6. UN decries dangerous precedent. While Russia and China blast America, yet Starmer sheepishly says he sheds no tears, revealing Britain's complete irrelevance between American power and global condemnation. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said he is deeply alarmed by the recent escalation culminating with United States military action, which has potential worrying implications. Constitutes a dangerous precedent. Dangerous precedent. The Secretary-General is deeply concerned that the rules of international law have not been respected. Law not respected. UN condemns. Russia harshly criticizes US attack on Venezuela. Capture of Maduro. Russian Foreign Ministry condemned an act of armed aggression. Russia condemns. In the current situation, it is important to prevent further escalation and to focus on finding a way out through dialogue. Dialogue. Russia lectures. China. Silent condemnation. Many Latin American leaders have expressed concern about the attack, including those of Cuba, Chile, Mexico, and Colombia, which is mobilizing troops to its border over concerns about an influx of refugees. Cuba, Chile, Mexico, Colombia, all concerned, mobilizing troops. Real responses. European Commission Vice President Kaja Kallas reiterated the EU's view that Maduro lacks legitimacy, but also called for restraint and the respect of principles of international law. EU balanced, clear, principled. France's Macron, Italy's Meloni, both similarly called for a democratic transition. Democratic transition. Clear statements. Britain, the UK has long supported a transition of power in Venezuela. We regarded Maduro as an illegitimate president, and we shed no tears about the end of his regime. Shed no tears. Pathetic. I reiterated my support for international law this morning. Support this morning. Vague. Weak. World condemns America's breach of law. Starmer sheds no tears. World mobilizes troops. Starmer checks on tourists. World takes positions. Starmer establishes facts. Britain irrelevant, sidelined, humiliated, embarrassed. Globally, here's where Britain stands. Trump launches Operation Absolute Resolve, most audacious military action in either term. Captures Maduro in stunning display of American military might. Pledges to run Venezuela and exploit oil reserves. Britain, not involved in any way. Starmer refuses to condemn, voice trembling. Needs to establish facts. Wants to speak to Trump urgently. Still hasn't by Sunday. Claims closest relationship, yet excluded. Ignored. Irrelevant. Focusing on British nationals, working closely with embassy. Travel advice. While Trump runs countries, captures presidents, reshapes regions. Leadership versus administration. America versus Britain. Power versus weakness. Left-wing MPs organising emergency rallies. £30 solidarity tickets. Demanding dictators' safe return. Conservatives mocking insipid non-statements. Greens condemning. Lib Dems condemning. Starmer shedding no tears. Pathetic platitude. UN calls it dangerous precedent. Russia condemns aggression. Colombia mobilizes troops. France and Italy call for democratic transition. EU emphasizes international law. World responds decisively. Britain establishes facts. Checks on tourists. Sheds no tears. That's Britain. 2026. Where America's supposed closest ally isn't consulted on the most audacious military operation in modern history, where the Prime Minister trembles when asked about international law, where Britain focuses on embassy coordination while America runs countries, where left-wing MPs defend dictators, where conservatives mock weakness, where opposition parties condemn while government equivocates, where Britain stands nowhere between American power and global condemnation. Starmer claims close relationship. Trump doesn't call back. Starmer says he gets on with Trump. Trump doesn't include him. Starmer emphasizes responsibility. Trump ignores Britain completely, not involved, in any way. Sidelined, excluded, irrelevant, embarrassed, humiliated, globally. This isn't just one operation, it's a revelation. Britain doesn't matter. Britain isn't consulted. Britain isn't needed. Special relationship, one-sided. Global Britain, global joke. International law, selectively applied. Putin invades, immediate condemnation. Trump captures, establish facts. Principle or cowardice, leadership or fear. Britain chose fear. America acts, Britain reacts. Trump leads, Starmer follows. Trump captures presidents, Starmer checks tourists. Trump runs Venezuela, Starmer runs nothing. That's Britain's place now. Irrelevant, sidelined, pathetic. Global embarrassment, complete.